Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at the Eufy E340. This is their new dual camera video doorbell, and as you can see from this slide, they do have 3 generations now. I have actually owned all 3, and I'll discuss a couple of the differences a little later on in the video. If you want to, you can actually go on the website and choose which one actually suits your purpose best. So taking a look at the actual packaging first, so usual Eufy sort of presentation here, very clean, simple box, and you have a little sleeve cover over the top that actually reveals the box itself. Everything's packaged inside. Now, even though this particular model is the battery powered one and it has a removable battery, you do only get 1 battery included with the original pack. You can buy additional batteries, which I'll show you a little later on, and they're selling for roughly around about £30 on Amazon at the moment. If you do find a deal, then you might be able to get a little bit off that price as well, which for me, that's not too bad considering how much extra sort of functionality it actually gives you. This particular one does have 2 spotlights at the bottom as well as 1 spotlight at the top. It has a new mechanism for the release, which is actually a lot better than the previous generation, and as you can see here, it does have the removable battery on the back. So whenever the battery actually drains out or it's getting low, you can just quickly swap the battery out within a couple of minutes rather than having to put the whole battery on charge for a longer period. Here you can see the actual rechargeable battery. This is the presentation you'd get if you were to buy this separately, and it comes with everything that you need to actually get it set up. So it does come with its own USB-C charging cable, and you have that little package there. I have actually charged this one as well, and it doesn't take that long. I think it charged within a couple of hours, and I wasn't fast charging it or anything either. There's a little LED indicator on it, and it'll flash red while it's still charging, and it'll go green once it's charged. So coming on to the installation, and it's pretty much the same as all the other Eufy products. You just go into the app, you choose the Video Doorbell Dual, battery powered is this particular model, and you just follow the instructions. Now, I have sped up or cut out certain sections because this process did actually take a little bit longer, because this isn't really very friendly with the iPhone's camera because it doesn't zoom in and focus that well. But yeah, you can get it done. You just follow the instructions. They're laid out very clearly and very simply. As I say, it will take a little longer than what you're actually seeing, but the process itself is so simple and so error-free that anybody can do this. I think this whole process took around about maybe 5 or 6 minutes in total, including connecting to everything as well. And bear in mind, I didn't actually have this near my home base for the section a little later on when I actually connected to the home base. As long as you're in Wi-Fi range, that's all you need. You don't need to be right next to either your router or the home base itself. So it did have an update. Always, as soon as you set it up, do the update. Now, it does have an additional feature. So if you do hardwire this, even though it's a battery powered camera, you can hardwire it, and it will actually give you 1 extra functionality, which is 4 seconds of pre-record. So whenever you get any of your clips saved, it'll actually save 4 seconds before the detection point. That function is only available if the battery is hardwired. So if you do have that functionality available to you, even though this is the battery version, I would suggest actually wiring it in. Firstly, you won't need to actually take it off in order to charge it, and then secondly, obviously, you get that extra functionality. You can go through the final part of the setting and set up all of your viewpoints and everything like that, and then the doorbell is ready to use. Now we come on to the home base connection, and this once again is very simple. It is sped up. Once again, I did cut out a lot of section, so you can choose which home base you want to actually connect it to. Obviously, I'm going to connect it to the home base 3 because that's the latest one that I've got, and it's going to have the most AI functionality built in. This part did take a little while. Once again, I skipped through that just to save you guys time of sitting through the video. So this is the previous generation dual camera doorbell, and the difference with this one is that bottom camera, you can actually twist it a tiny bit, so you can go left and right a tiny bit. This one's obviously a lot chunkier. It doesn't have the LED at the top, but other than that, functionality wise, it's almost identical. One thing I did notice, and I'll point out a little later on, is the clips do record at a slightly different resolution, but other than that, internally, I think they're pretty much almost exactly the same. Another little benefit is obviously this one's quite big, and it has to be because it's got a single battery and you have to take the whole unit off to charge, whereas the newer one is actually a lot smaller, so it's a bit more compact. Coming on to one of the sample videos for that previous generation, as you can see, it does record 2 clips. So it's got your main camera, and then it's got the one pointing down for the actual package detection. This is the resolution it records in, and one thing you might notice there, it records in HEVC. Now coming on to the new doorbell, and as you can see, it lights up both top and bottom, so it'll actually spread out the light a lot better. Now I'm quite fortunate in this location where I've got additional lighting, so I don't need these particular lights, but it is good that they've added this, and it does help anybody approaching the light or the doorbell to actually spot it and actually press it, rather than people who just knock on the door and don't actually press the doorbell. Coming on to the actual sample videos for the new doorbell, so as you can see, layout is pretty much exactly the same. You can have it overlaid, but I prefer this layout where you have top and bottom. Now coming on to the sort of details of the actual video itself, this one records at slightly lower resolution, so it records at 2200 rather than 2300, and it also saves it in H.264 rather than HEVC. Coming on to what the app would actually look like if you were to get a parcel, you do have those two little indicators telling you whether an item has been just delivered or it's been picked up as well. As you can see, it's literally detected a bag in the bottom camera, and it's actually picked up the fact that, yeah, that could be a parcel. So even though this wasn't a delivery, it's literally just my son coming home with some shopping, it has actually detected that the item was there for a short period, and then as he's brought it in with him, it's basically shown it as collected as well. Coming on to the details for this particular video, as you can see, it still only records at 14 or 15 FPS, which I'm not a fan of. I really do wish they would speed that up a bit, give us a bit more frame rate to actually make it better. Now you can, it is quite clear, and once again, this is benefiting by the fact that I've got very good lighting here. If this was in a darker scenario, then I don't think you'd detect faces and things like that as clearly, which is why a higher frame rate is always going to benefit you for anything to do with security cameras. In terms of my location, it's also closed off, so I can basically keep all of my motion detection and everything quite low. Basically, I've got it about in the middle, so it doesn't drain the battery too much. As you can see, same resolution, same sort of frame rate, and the file size as well. So in terms of the battery, this particular camera was installed on the 12th, and today is the 20th when I'm actually doing this voiceover, and it's showing that the actual battery on the camera is still at 98%. So it's doing quite well. Obviously, the fact that you've got that additional removable battery means you can swap it out very quickly, and that process is a lot better compared to the previous one, where I used to have to kind of time when I was gonna take the battery or the whole doorbell off and charge it. Usually I'd try and do it on like a Saturday night going into a Sunday, because generally I didn't get too many deliveries on a Sunday. This one obviously gives you that additional functionality of just swap out the batteries. It'll take you no time, and I think it's a much better system. It also makes the whole unit a lot more compact, because the battery itself doesn't have to be as big. Another benefit is obviously batteries do drain and deteriorate over time, so the fact that this one is removable, if it does ever get to the point where it's deteriorated so much that battery life isn't lasting that long, you can just get a new battery and keep using the unit rather than having to replace the whole unit for that one issue. So yeah, that's my first look. I will have follow-up videos coming, and I've got a few other products from Eufy that I'll be featuring on the channel as well. So if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and turn on notifications. If you have any questions about this one, drop them in the comment section below. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.